Yesterday, the top official that's in charge of archiving federal records, David Ferrario, testified and said that the IRS broke the law when it failed to inform his office of Lois Lerner's missing emails. Of course they did. My next guest is introducing legislation appropriately titled The Dog Ate My Tax Receipts Act. This is a bill that will allow taxpayers to use the same excuses as the government when we are asked to produce important documents, like that receipt from dinner from 2 years ago. Republican Congressman Steve Stockman of Texas joins me now. He is the brains behind this particular bill. Congressman, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. Glad to be on your show.
Of course. I love illustrating absurdity with absurdity, although I want this to be a real thing. You give 10 excuses that are covered, that are protected by this bill. I wanted to run through them very quickly because I love all of this. The dog ate my tax receipts. My favorite is number 2, one of my favorites. The excuses that American taxpayers can claim that convenient, unexplained, miscellaneous computer malfunctions, like, maybe perhaps a hard drive crash. Yeah. Obviously, you were inspired
and there's
by
some
that.
other inside ones there. Yeah, I was going to say, if you read some of the other ones, there's one that's an older one. It says, yeah, go ahead.
Traded documents for 5 terrorists, burned for warmth while lost in the Yukon. You have that one. Left on table in Hillary's book room. This is maybe this one's my favorite, number 6. Received water damage in the trunk of Ted Kennedy's car. Oh, I'm sorry, IRS. I couldn't give you those documents. It was in Kennedy's trunk. Oops, You also have forgot in gun case sold to Mexican drug lords. Obviously, you're referencing Fast and Furious. Forced to recycle by municipal green czar. Was short on toilet paper while camping. And number 10, at this point, what difference does it make? Congressman, please, I want this to happen because I think that we should be able to follow the law as well as the IRS, right?
Yeah, we're making light of it, but if you think about it, we're demanding to keep 7 years of documents, and they haven't even kept 6 months worth. And I'm wondering, one of our testimonies was that they said they were going through the emails and redacting those emails. Well, which testimony is correct? The one where they're redacting the emails or the ones they lost? This is something that's pretty serious. But we're trying to bring humor to it because there's not much apparently else we can do because this administration just does whatever it wants.
Is there any plans to ask for access to the IRS's servers? Because her hard drives can crash. Their hard drives can crash 6 ways to Sunday. I'm fine with that. I want access to those servers because you have to know those emails are still there.
Well, you're going to like what we just did. It's announced on your show about 15 minutes ago while we were voting. I dropped a procedural motion that forces the speaker to subpoena the emails from different departments because you got to remember there's people that receive those emails. Every hard drive and every server can't have possibly crashed. I'm sure they're working furiously to try to make that happen. But we just did that, and so expect in about 4 weeks from now you're going to see a uproar on the House floor. In which, we do humor, but we also do serious legislation, which is forcing the Democrats, for once, to vote on record where they stand with the IRS or do they stand with the American people.
Well, watching these hearings, it sure seems like they stand with the IRS. They were absolutely complimentary and apologetic to John Koskinen over just some simple, hard questions, which kind of took me a little bit by surprise. And I noticed, too, Congressman, as well, when we talk about hard drives crashing with the IRS, I read a story today where the EPA now apparently has had some hard drive crashes.
Yeah, isn't it convenient? Anytime we ask for documents, things disappear. Really, Obama makes Richard Nixon look like a choir boy. Nixon just talked about using the IRS. Remember, his signature legislation was the Obama health care. The czar over the health care was in his office less time than the head of the IRS. Now, why would you have to have every 9 days the IRS be coming to the White House? And it was right before the election, 2010, this very Tea Party, which they were targeted by the IRS, are the ones that got the Republicans back in power. So it was a very big threat to Obama, and he I think took that threat seriously and then used the IRS to squash and suppress the Tea Party movement.
Yeah, well, the emails that we already know about, especially with Congressman Elijah Cummings about True the Vote, those don't paint a pretty picture. So I can only imagine the ones that they lost, how bad those indict the party. But I guess the easiest way to crash a hard drive, Congressman, is to subpoena it.
Well, yeah, with the drill, too. I guess they said they used a drill. But think about it. I think what they did is they looked at these emails, and they're probably going, oh, man, oh, man.
Bad.
And the lawyer probably said, hey, you better take the hit for destroying it, because if these emails get out, you're going to be in big trouble. I think that's the options that they had.
I want to ask you, too, before we let you go, Congressman, the situation at the border being called a humanitarian crisis. Obviously, this concerns you as a Texas representative. Give me your thoughts on this, because you think that this is perhaps a coordinated effort involving the White House.
Yeah, I do. In fact, if you realize, if you look back at the elections, he creates a crisis, which is classic, as you know, liberalism. They create a crisis, and then they, quote, resolve it. He's begging for these illegal immigrants to come up there, and they're going to be in Texas and southern states, and he's going to say, look, the Republicans have no compassion. But I was with Senator Cruz yesterday in a meeting. Cruz said that they're actually, and this is unbelievable, no one's reporting this, but they're taking these young kids, and because most of the kids are being brought up by, or being paid by drug lords, and they're demanding more money from the families, so the kids are literally chopping fingers off, and they have a separate retention area where those kids are being held versus what we get to see at Congressman. And I think it's a pretty big issue. And if this is true, it needs to be exposed that this is kind of a cover-up of what's going on down there.
$1.3 million, I read, according to Governor Perry's office, that it's going to take Texas to be able to deal with this situation. I know that they're sort of spreading the deluge by shipping off illegal immigrants to other parts of the Southwest. And then Attorney General Greg Abbott's asked for more money. What do you see Texas needing in order to help stem the tide here? Is it just a boost of Border Patrol agents down by the border? What do you see that could be an immediate aid?
Yeah, we need to do that. We also need to communicate to Central and Mexico, Central America, that indeed we're going to start blocking the people. But on an ironic note, some of our biggest critics of Texas have been Maryland, the state of Maryland. And so Texas asked if, and the United States asked if we could ship any of these children to Maryland, which is a very liberal state, in criticizing Texas, and they told us no. So the compassion only runs as far as...
no?
Yeah.
Where's
Isn't
the
that incredible?
That's another do as I say, not as I do.
Only on paper.
Wow.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I wonder how Massachusetts would feel as well. I mean, have any other states been asked?
No, but I think we should ask all the states that are attacking Texas for our lack of compassion and have them take care of the hundreds, if not thousands, of kids that are coming across.
Because it takes a village, Congressman, you know. It takes a village. Yeah. Congressman Steve Stockman, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. And good luck on this bill.
Thank you so much.